So what's this camera I've been talking about, and what makes it so special? It doesn't look very special as of right now. Well, for one, it's called the Insta360 One R, and it's a modular camera. It's pretty neat. It comes apart, goes in a standard GoPro mount, and this camera right here is completely changeable to a 360. Why is that special? Well, maybe I spent all week taking footage to try and figure out what it can do, and now I'm going to show you.
So at first you would think it's just a normal GoPro, but it acts like it's on a gimbal, and that's because it's always recording everything around me. And that's one of the most favorite parts of this camera. It's the reason why I got it. Because at any moment, I can turn the camera and look at exactly what I want to see as I'm slowly panning towards where I'm heading. It's one of the first videos I took getting this camera. I decided to go get a breakfast sandwich and have it mounted to my bicycle. So I'll shut up for a second and you can just see what it does here. And this from the start is the favorite aspect of this camera. With a single person and a mount, it's like having a person as an actor and a person as a cameraman. Just riding along, I'm focusing on the road, but later on in post-op, I could focus on that car that just went by. And in post-op, I could focus on the staircase that's coming up next to me. I don't have to move the camera. I just let it run, and later on is when I take care of all these edits. And that's how this camera predominantly works. You shoot a video, not even caring about what you're looking at, and you worry about it later on your phone or your laptop. The flexibility that this camera offers you to just walk around and put it places you normally wouldn't think to be able to take a video is just absolutely phenomenal. It's such a cool idea and a very cool tool to use. But here we start to see one of the problems that this camera does have. That's the fact that it has two lenses, one on the front and one on the back, and they're both simultaneously recording. So in post-op, the camera has to stitch the front image to the rear image, and as you see dancing around the screen, there's a lot of artifacting happening, and that's because it's trying to create this image between the top and the bottom camera, as you see here on Candy, who was my lovely assistant for this shot. And this area becomes even more noticeable when something's closer than 4 inches to the camera. When this bird landed on the camera, I thought it'd be the coolest shot in the world. Also, I knew that there would be some problems stitching between the front and the back camera. And this little guy really proved that point. The manufacturer says it's 4 inches, but it could be about a foot. Once you get further away, it's no problem. The camera fixes itself. It stitches the two images together and you're fine. So you don't always have to use this camera on your selfie stick. You can put it on a GoPro mount like on my bicycle, or here I stuck one to my dashboard. And in 360 mode, moving cars are cool and all, but it's a real pain in the butt when you go around turns, because in post-edit, you have to constantly tell it to look at a certain focal point. For instance, looking at this car, it wanted to always look at the guardrail or at a tree. It wasn't really my favorite mode. So after this trip, I decided to put in the 4K module that comes with this camera, which essentially makes it a standard 4K GoPro. So here's that comparison video to see what that looks like. And immediately, it looks like any other dash cam or GoPro footage you've ever seen before. The camera is doing its best to do some stabilization on the movement of the car and the road that we're taking, like any other camera would. And at this point, it's kind of lost its fun factor to me. Yeah, it's a lot of work in the post edit, but this is not my favorite type of shot. If I was driving through mountains, I would be missing a lot of stuff. Now, I don't really have mountains around me, but I do have bluffs, and I have a river, and I have a nice driving road to do that on. So, I put back in the 360 mod and took this shot of driving down River Road here, right next to the bluffs, and I was able to grab shots that you never would have even noticed. One of the coolest factors about this camera is you cannot know where you're looking at, and you can find things later on that you just didn't know that were shots that you could have.